Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me today, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can use the tonal scale to draw a very simple treescape. Let's look at what we'll be using. A soft brush. This one's a synthetic regular soft brush. We'll be using a little bit of compressed charcoal for the darker tones right at the end. The majority of the work will be made up with the willow charcoal. This is a stick form. We'll be using a kneadable eraser and of course charcoal powder, which is made of the willow charcoal. And if you'd like to know how to make it, you can watch one of my other videos and I'll put the link in here for you. Today's paper is a Canson paper and it's 300 grams. So let's start by picking up some of the powdered charcoal and start to work that in onto the paper. We're going to give the illusion of some trees here. Don't be concerned with if we get clumps of dark and clumps of light at this stage. It's inevitable with charcoal. It is quite dark in tone by nature. But the lovely thing about willow charcoal is that you can move the colour around, you can take it off, you can add to it for deeper tones, and we'll be doing all of those things today. So now let's place these, what at the moment are shapes, and let's turn them into trees simply by adding a few trunks. In the background here, which we'll be keeping as our lightest tone, coming in here with a little bit of tissue paper or paper towel, and we're just smoothing this area, just rubbing the paper nice and gently, working the willow powdered charcoal into the paper. Now we're coming in here and we're going to define these trees a little more here. I'm going to bring in some more mid-tones. And we're going to work up all the tree. Come in here with some darker tones for the trees at the front. And also the trunks of the trees themselves will be thicker, will be wider as we proceed to the front. So we're keeping the trees predominantly lighter in tone towards the back of the composition. As the trees move further towards the front, they're going to be darker in tone. Let's soften those edges now. We do this by using the brush. There's no hard lines in nature, and so we want to keep a nice soft look. We don't want to stop the eye from receding back into this study that we're doing here. If you're having sharp lines, that's going to stop the eye from moving back, and we want to avoid that. So we want to get the edges of the trees to the background as soft as possible. So we're looking at here of getting they'll continue to soften. Remembering, of course, when you do soften with the brush, you're working the charcoal into the paper and the charcoal is going to appear lighter in tone. Let's check those tones a moment here. We've got the lightest tone in the background. We've got the middle tones from 2, 3 to 4 there in this middle section, and they'll be just dancing with each other in the middle section. And at the front we're going to have the darkest tones on the trees and the trunks. Now I feel as if there's too much white space in the background there. We're going to come in a little bit more either side with the trees in the background, and then we're going to put in a foreground here. And then we'll come back to the composition. We'll darken some areas off here in the foreground, just a little bit. And we'll work those tree trunks back in. Again, keeping lighter in tone at the back. Mid-tones coming through the middle, and the darkest tones right at the front, either side. Okay, now I just want to have a look at this line here where we're coming in. You see how dark that is? That line's way too dark for our furthest point in the background. So let's get rid of that, let's soften it, and now we can see that the eye will start to travel back into that section. Coming in here now towards the front, I'm going to bring some sun-kissed highlights coming through here, and to do this we're using the kneadable eraser. I'm just going to pop some highlights in there wherever you think they should be, is usually where they should be. And so you see how we're putting a little bit more detail back into the front of the composition. That's where your detail should be. Mostly at the front of the composition. You don't want any details at all in the back, and very few details in the midground. I'm going to keep things very simple in the background. I think we can call this one finished. So let's bring off the tape here, and there we go. It's a pretty good interpretation of a treescape. We've certainly can see how we've used all of our tonal scale within the work, and I hope you've enjoyed watching the video today. Please give it a like, comment should you wish, and I'll see you in the next video.